Pokemon entries is Sandshrew, Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Its body is dry. When it gets cold at night, its hide is said to become coated with a fine dew. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. If it fell from a great height, this Pokemon could save itself by rolling into a ball and bouncing. Pokemon Moon. It usually makes its home in deserts and zones where rain does not fall. It digs holes to catch bug-type Pokemon. Pokemon Ultra Moon. When its skin gets wrinkled from moisture, it heads for a volcano. It lies flat on a spot with a lot of geothermal heat and dries itself out. Pokemon Sword. It loves to bathe in the grit of dry, sandy areas. By sunbathing, the Pokemon rids itself of dirt and moisture clinging to its body. Sandslash. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. If it digs at an incredible pace, it may snap off its spikes and claws. They grow back in a day. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Sandslash's body is covered by tough spikes, which are hardened sections of its hide. Once a year, the old spikes fall out to be replaced with new spikes that grow out from beneath the old ones. Pokemon Emerald. It curls up in a ball to protect itself from enemy attacks. It also curls up to prevent heat stroke during the daytime when temperatures rise sharply. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its claws and horns often break off. The broken claws and horns can be used to carve plows for tilling farm fields. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Thanks to its thick claws, it's good at climbing trees. There are plenty of Sandslash that park themselves in trees and go right to sleep. Pokemon Shield. It climbs trees by hooking on with its sharp claws. Sandslash shares the berries it gathers, dropping them down to Sandshrew, waiting below the tree. Nidoqueen, 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 Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Tough scales cover the sturdy body of this Pokemon. It appears that the scales grow in cycles. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. It uses its scaly, rugged body to seal the entrance of its nest and protect its young from predators. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Nidoqueen's body is encased in extremely hard scales. It is adept at sending foes flying with harsh tackles. This Pokemon is at its strongest when it is defending its young. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Y. The body is covered by stiff, needle-like scales. If it becomes excited, the needles bristles outwards. Pokemon Shield. It pacifies offspring by placing them in gaps between the spines on its back. The spines will never secrete poison while young are present. Nidoking, 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 Nidoking. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Leaf Green. It uses its powerful tail in battle Its tail is thick and powerful. If it binds an enemy, it can snap the victim's spine quite easily. Pokemon Crystal. It uses its thick arms, legs, and tail to attack forcefully. Melee combat is its specialty. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon X. It is recognized by its rock-hard hide and its extended horn. Be careful with the horn as it contains venom. Pokemon Sword. When it goes on a rampage, it's impossible to control. But in the presence of a Nidoqueen it's lived with for a long time, Nidoking calms down. Tickle-a-tick, 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 tickle-a-tick. Diglett. Pokemon Yellow. Let's go Pikachu, and let's go Eevee. It prefers dark places. It spends most of its time underground, though it may pop up in caves. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, Pokemon Y, and Violet. Its skin is very thin. If it is exposed to light, its blood heats up, causing it to grow weak. Pokemon Crystal. It digs underground and chews on tree roots, sticking its head out only when the sun isn't bright. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Diglett are raised in most farms. The reason is simple. Wherever this Pokemon burrows, the soil is left perfectly tilled for planting crops. This soil is made ideal for growing delicious vegetables. Pokemon Moon. Many farmers cherish and nurture Diglett because its droppings enrich the soil it lives in. Pokemon Ultramoon. Around their crops, farmers plant the kind of tree that Diglett like to eat as a way of getting Diglett to plow the fields for them. Dugtrio. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Sword. A team of Diglett triplets. It triggers huge earthquakes by burrowing 60 miles underground. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Scarlet. Its 3 heads bob separately up and down to loosen the soil nearby, making it easier for it to burrow. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Dugtrio are actually triplets that emerged from one body. As a result, each triplet thinks exactly like the other 2 triplets. They work cooperatively to burrow endlessly. Pokemon Moon. Despite the closeness between this Pokemon and farmers and other people, no one has ever seen the parts of it concealed underground. Pokemon Ultra Sun. While the 3 of them normally get along splendidly, on rare occasions a huge fight will break out over which head gets to eat first. Geodude. Pokemon Yellow. Let's go Pikachu, and let's go Eevee. Commonly found near mountain trails, and etc. If you step on one by accident, it gets angry. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. Most people may not notice, but a closer look should reveal that there are many Geodude around. Pokemon Crystal. Proud of their sturdy bodies, they bash against each other in a contest to prove whose is harder. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. When Geodude sleeps, itself halfway into the ground. It will not awaken even if hikers step on it unwittingly. In the morning, this Pokemon rolls downhill in search of food. Pokemon Fire Red. Its round form makes it easy to pick up. Some people have used them to hurl at each other in a snowball fight. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Geodude that have lived a long life have had all their edges smoothed out until they're totally round. They also have a calm, quiet disposition. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It uses both hands to climb precipitous cliffs. People who see it in action have been known to take up bouldering. Pokemon Legends Arceus makes its home in mountainous regions, using its arm to climb along harsh mountain roads. Can be troublesome. Carelessly kicking one will cause it to fly into a rage and chase after you. Graveler. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Often seen rolling down mountain trails, obstacles are just things to roll straight over, not avoid. Pokemon Crystal. It travels by rolling on mountain paths. If it gains too much speed, it stops by running into huge rocks. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Graveler grows by feeding on rocks. Apparently, it prefers to eat rocks that are covered in moss. This Pokemon eats its way through a ton of rocks on a daily basis. Pokemon Diamond and Brilliant Diamond. Graveler make their homes on sheer cliff faces by gouging out numerous horizontal holes. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It travels by rolling down cliffs. If it falls into a river, it will explode with its last gasp. Golem. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green. Its boulder-like body is extremely hard. It can easily withstand dynamite blasts without damage. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Once it sheds its skin, its body turns tender and whitish. Its hide hardens when it's exposed to air. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. It is capable of blowing itself up. It uses this explosive force to jump from mountain to mountain. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Golem is known for rolling down from mountains to prevent them from rolling into the homes of people downhill. Grooves have been dug into the sides of mountains to serve as guideways for diverting this Pokemon's course. Pokemon Ultra Sun. When Golem grows old, they stop shedding their shells. Those that have lived a long, long time have shells green with moss. Pokemon Legends Arceus. The rock-like shell is shed each year. The cast-off shell then crumbles, reverting to a mass of soil, which can be spread across fields to promote crop growth. Onyx. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green. As it grows, the stone portion of its body hardens to become similar to a diamond but colored black. Pokemon Yellow. Pokemon X. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Burrows at high speed has a magnet in its brain. It acts as a compass so that this Pokemon does not lose direction while it is tunneling. As it grows older, its body becomes increasingly rounder and smoother. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Y. It usually lives underground. It searches for food while boring its way through the ground at 50 miles per hour. Pokemon Legends Arceus. This chain of immense stone resembles a giant serpent. Tremor shakes the earth above as it burrows deep beneath the ground, feeding on boulders as it goes. Cubone. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Leaf Green. Because it never removes its skull helmet, no one has ever seen this Pokemon's real face. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. It wears the skull of its deceased mother. Its cries echo inside the skull and come out as a sad melody. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Cubone pines for the mother it will never see again. Seeing a likeness of its mother in the full moon, it cries. The stains on the skull the Pokemon wears are made by the tears it sheds. Pokemon Moon. The skull it wears on its head is that of its dead mother. According to some, it will evolve when it comes to terms with the pain of her death. Pokemon Ultra Sun. At night, it weeps loudly for its dead mother, but those cries only attract its natural enemy, Mandibuzz. Marowak. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. Small and weak. This Pokemon is adept with its Bone Club. It has grown more vicious over the ages. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. It has been seen pounding boulders with the bone it carries in order to tap out messages to others. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. It collects bones from an unknown place. A Marowak graveyard exists somewhere in the world, rumors say. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Marowak is the evolved form of a Cubone that has overcome its sadness at the loss of its mother and grown tough. This Pokemon's tempered and hardened spirit is not easily broken. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It throws bones at Mandibuzz to knock it down. It's thought that Marowak is trying to avenge its parent. Rhyhorn. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Y. It is inept at turning because of its 4 short legs. It can only charge and run in one direction. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Rhyhorn runs in a straight line, smashing everything in its path. It is not bothered even if it rushes headlong into a block of steel. This Pokemon may feel some pain from the collision the next day, however. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Rhyhorn's brain is very small. It is so dense, while on a run, it forgets why it started running in the first place. It apparently remembers sometimes if it demolishes something. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Ludicrously strong. When it butts heads with a mountain, it is the mountain that shatters. But its short legs struggle with turns, and it is incapable of stopping unless it collides with something. Right on. Pokemon Yellow walks on its hind legs, shows signs of intelligence. Its armor-like hide even repels molten lava. Pokemon Silver, Diamond, Pearl, Soul Silver, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Its brain developed when it began walking on hind legs. Its thick hide protects it even in magma. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Rhydon has a horn that serves as a drill. It is used for destroying rocks and boulders. This Pokemon occasionally rams into streams of magma, but the armor-like hide prevents it from feeling the heat. Whooper, 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 whooper. Pokemon Crystal. A mucus membrane covers its body. Touching it barehanded will cause a shooting pain. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Wooper usually lives in water. However, it occasionally comes out onto land in search of food. On land, it coats its body with a gooey, toxic film. Pokemon Diamond and Brilliant Diamond. It lives in cold water, half burying itself in mud at the bottom to sleep. Paldean Wooper. Pokemon Scarlet. After losing a territorial struggle, Wooper began living on land. The Pokemon changed over time, developing a poisonous film to protect its body. Quagsire. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Y. This carefree Pokemon has an easygoing nature. While swimming, it always bumps into boat hulls. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Quagsire hunts for food by leaving its mouth wide open in water and waiting for its prey to blunder in unaware. Because the Pokemon does not move, it does not get very hungry. Gligar, 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 Gligar. Gligar. Pokemon Crystal. It builds its nest on a steep cliff. When it is done gliding, it hops along the ground back to its nest. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Gligar glides through the air without a sound, as if it were sliding. This Pokemon hangs onto the face of its foe, using its clawed hind legs and the large pincers on its forelegs, then injects the prey with its poison barb. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Its tail is tipped by a thick, horrible stinger. To bring down prey, it will first obscure their vision by covering their faces with its body, and then it will use the stinger to inject them with venom. Fanpy. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon X. As a sign of affection, it bumps with its snout. However, it is so strong, it may send you flying. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Fanpy uses its long nose to shower itself. When others gather around, they thoroughly douse each other with water. These These Pokemon can be seen drying their soaking wet bodies at the edge of water. Pokemon Emerald. Fanbee's big ears serve as broad fans. When it becomes hot, it flaps the ears busily to cool down. Even the young are very strong. Pokemon Violet. It is far stronger than it appears. If a Fanbee is swinging its trunk around and your arm gets hit by it, your arm bone will shatter. Donphan. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Donphan's favorite attack is curling its body into a ball, then charging at its foe while rolling at high speed. Once it starts rolling, this Pokemon can't stop very easily. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl. It attacks by curling up, then rolling into its foe. It can blow apart a house in one hit. Pokemon Scarlet. Donphan is covered in tough hide, so even being hit by a car won't faze this Pokemon. However, it is extremely susceptible to rain. Larvitar. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, and Pokemon X. It feeds on soil. After it has eaten a large mountain, it will fall asleep so it can grow. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Larvitar is born deep under the ground to come up to the surface. This Pokemon must eat its way through the soil above. Until it does so, Larvitar cannot see its parent's face. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Raised on nutrients it finds in the dirt, it eats roughly a mountain's worth of dirt before it becomes a pupa. Pupitar. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Sword. Even sealed in its shell, it can move freely, hard and fast. It has outstanding destructive power. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Shield. It will not stay still even while it's a pupa. It already has arms and legs under its solid shell. Pokemon Ultra Sun. This troublesome Pokemon can't wait to evolve, so it relieves its stress by wildly propelling itself around using compressed gas. Marshtomp. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. The surface of Marshtomp's body is enveloped by a thin, sticky film that enables it to live on land. This Pokemon plays in mud on beaches when the ocean tide is low. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Marshtomp is much faster at traveling through mud than it is at swimming. This Pokemon's hindquarters exhibit obvious development, giving it the ability to walk on just its hind legs. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. It is at its best when on muddy ground with poor footing. It quickly overwhelms foes struggling in mud. Swampert and Mega Swampert. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Swampert predicts storms by sensing subtle differences in the sounds of waves and tidal winds with its fins. If a storm is approaching, it piles up boulders to protect itself. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Its arms are rock hard. With one swing, they can batter down its foe. It makes its nest on beautiful beaches. Trapinch, 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 Pokemon Emerald. Its big jaws crunch through boulders because its head is so big. It has a hard time getting back upright if it tips over onto its back. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Sword. Its nest is a sloped, bowl-like pit in the desert. Once something has fallen in, there is no escape. Pokemon Sun. It can live for a week without eating a thing. It waits patiently at the bottom of its nest for prey to appear. Vibrava, Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. To make prey faint, Vibrava generates ultrasonic waves by vigorously making its two wings vibrate. This Pokemon's ultrasonic waves are so powerful they can bring on headaches in people. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Vibrava's wings have not yet completed the process of growing. Rather than flying long distances, they are more useful for generating ultrasonic waves by vibrating. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Shield. To help make its wings grow, it dissolves quantities of prey in its digestive juices and guzzles them down every day. Flygon, Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Flygon is nicknamed the elemental spirit of the desert because its flapping wings whip up a cloud of sand. This Pokemon is always enveloped in a sandstorm while flying. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Pokemon X. It hides itself by kicking up desert sand with its wings. Red covers shield its eyes from sand. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Flygon cause sandstorms that conceal Crocodile. The team then splits the prey they catch. Pokemon Ultra Moon. People continue to have their hearts stolen by its enchanting songs and find themselves stranded in the desert. I didn't know Flygon could sing. Barboach, Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Y, and Shining Pearl. Its whiskers make a superb radar. They are used to locate prey even in the murkiest of water. Pokemon Moon. Its slippery body is hard to grasp, so much so that there are festivals where people compete to see how many they can catch barehanded. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Its whiskers are filled with nerves. They can sense smells and flavors just as a person's nose or tongue would. Whiskash, Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Whiskash is extremely territorial. Just one of these Pokemon will claim a large pond as its exclusive territory. If a foe approaches it, it thrashes about and triggers a massive earthquake. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Sword. It makes its nest at the bottom of swamps. It will eat anything if it is alive. Whiskash will eat it. Pokemon Emerald. Mysteriously, it can foretell traces of it left in its cells. Pokemon Legends Arceus eats beach sand for nourishment. Should one Gastrodon encounter another of a different color, a fierce battle will inevitably ensue. Gastrodon West Sea Form. Pokemon Sun. It has strong regenerative capabilities, even if parts of it are bitten off by fish Pokemon. It will return to normal within a few hours. Gastrodon East Sea Form. Pokemon Ultra Sun. When it's attacked, it gushes a purple liquid that's not poisonous, but makes Gastrodon's meat bitter and inedible. Gibble. Pokemon Platinum and Shining Pearl. It attacks using its huge mouth. While its attacks are powerful, it hurts itself out of clumsiness too. Pokemon Sun. It lives in caves warmed by geothermal heat. Even so, when the weather gets cold, it will huddle close with others of its kind. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Its original home is an area much hotter than Alola. If you're planning to live with one, your heating bill will soar. Pokemon Shield. Gibble attacks anything that moves, and it drags whatever it catches onto the crevice that is its lair. Despite the big mouth, Gibble's stomach is small. Gabite. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Scarlet. In rare cases, it molts and sheds its scales. Medicine containing its scales as an ingredient will make a weary body feel invigorated. Pokemon Moon. Shiny objects are its passion. It can be found in its cave, scarcely moving, its gaze fixed on the jewels it's amassed or garbink it has caught. Pokemon Shield. Jewels are buried in the caves these Pokemon nest in, but you'll be torn apart by claws and fangs the moment you enter one of these caves. Garchomp. Pokemon Sun. It can fly at speeds rivaling jet planes. It dives into flocks of bird Pokemon and gulps the entire flock down whole. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It flies at the speed of sound while searching for prey, and it has mid-air battles with Salamence as the two compete for food. Pokemon Sword. Garchomp makes its home in volcanic mountains. It flies through the sky as fast as a jet plane, hunting down as much prey as it can. Mega Garchomp. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its arms and wings melted into something like scythes. Mad with rage, it rampages on and on. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Its disposition is more vicious than before its Mega Evolution. Garchomp carves its opponents up with the scythes on both arms. Hippopotas. Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Brilliant Diamond. It lives in arid places. Instead of perspiration, it expels grainy sand from its body. Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Violet. It enshrouds itself with sand to protect itself from germs. It does not enjoy getting wet. Pokemon Sword. It moves through the sand with its mouth open, swallowing sand along with its prey. It gets rid of the sand by spouting it from its nose. Hippowdon. Pokemon Pearl and Shining Pearl. Its huge mouth is almost 7 feet across. It has enough power to completely crush a car. Pokemon Sword. Stones can get stuck in the ports on their bodies. Dwebble helped dislodge such stones, so Hippowdon look after these Pokemon. Pokemon Shield. When roused to violence by its rage, it spews out the quantities of sand it has swallowed and whips up a sandstorm. Rhyperior. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl. It puts rocks and holes in its palms and uses its muscles to shoot them. Geodude are shot at rare times. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, and Black and White 2. It can launch a rock held in its hand like a missile by tightening and expanding muscles instantly. Pokemon Sword. It can load up to 3 projectiles per arm into the holes in its hands. What launches out of those holes could be either rocks or Roggenrola. Gliscor, 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 Gliscor. Pokemon Platinum and Black and White. If it succeeds in catching even a faint breeze properly, it can circle the globe without flapping once. Pokemon Legends Arceus. It glides soundlessly on pitch-black wings and sinks sharp fangs into the throat of its prey. It takes on a look of satisfaction once it has entirely drained its prey of blood. Drillbur. Pokemon Black. It can dig through the ground at a speed of 30 miles per hour. It could give a car running above ground a good race. Pokemon Shield. It's a digger. Using its claws to burrow through the ground, it causes damage to vegetable crops, so many farmers have little love for it. Palpitoad. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Omega Ruby. When they vibrate the bumps on their heads, they can make waves in water, earthquake, like vibrations on land. Pokemon Shield. On occasion, their cries are sublimely pleasing to the ear. Palpitoad with larger lumps on their bodies can sing with a wider range of sounds. Seismitoad. Pokemon Sword. The vibrating of the bumps all over its body causes earthquake-like tremors. Seismitoad and Grogunk are similar species. Pokemon Shield. This Pokemon is popular among the elderly who say the vibrations of its lumps are great for massages. Stunfisk. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Omega Ruby. Its skin is very hard, so it is unhurt even if stepped on by sumo wrestlers. It smiles when transmitting electricity. Pokemon Sword. Thanks to bacteria that lived in the mudflats with it, this Pokemon developed the organs it uses to generate electricity. Landorus Incarnate Form. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, and Omega Ruby. Lands visited by Landorus grant such bountiful crops that it has been hailed as the guardian of the fields. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, and Alpha Sapphire. From the forces of lightning and wind, it creates energy to give nutrients to the soil and make the land abundant. Landorus Therian Form. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Landorus soars through the sky in this form, bestowing plentiful harvests upon the land and earning the people's reverence. It can traverse the whole of Hisui in a mere couple of hours. Diggersby, 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 Diggersby. Pokemon Y and Alpha Sapphire. As powerful as an excavator, its ears can reduce dense bedrock to rubble. When it's finished digging, it lounges lazily. Pokemon Shield. The fur on its belly retains heat exceptionally well. People used to make heavy winter clothing from fur shed by this Pokemon. Zygarde. 50% form. Pokemon Sun. This is Zygarde's form when it has gathered 50% of its cells. It wipes out all those who oppose it, showing not a shred of mercy. Pokemon Ultra Sun. This is Zygarde's form when about half of its pieces have been assembled. It plays the role of monitoring the ecosystem. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Some say it can change to an even more powerful form when battling those who threaten the ecosystem. Zygarde. 10% form. Pokemon Sun. Its sharp fangs make short work of finishing off its enemies, but it's unable to maintain this body indefinitely. After a period of time, it falls apart. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Born when around 10% of Zygarde's cells have been gathered from all over. This form is skilled in close-range combat. Zygarde. Complete form. Pokemon Sun. This is Zygarde's form at times when it uses its overwhelming power to suppress those who endanger the ecosystem. Pokemon Ultra Sun. This is Zygarde's perfected form. From the orifice on its chest, it radiates high-powered energy that eliminates everything. Mudbray. Pokemon Moon. It has a stubborn, individualistic disposition, eating dirt, making mud, and playing in the mire all form part of its daily routine. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It loves playing in the mud. If it isn't showered with mud on a daily basis, it gets stressed out and stops listening to its trainer. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon covers itself in mud that it has regurgitated. The mud won't dry out even if it's exposed to the sun for a long time. Pokemon Violet. Though a slow walker, Mudbray is plenty strong. Its pace once loaded with 50 times its own body weight. Mudstail. Pokemon Sun. It spits a mud that provides resistance to both wind and rain, so the walls of old houses were often coated with it. Pokemon Moon. Its heavy, mud-covered kicks are its best means of attack, and it can reduce large trucks to scrap without breaking a sweat. Pokemon Shield. Mudstail has so much stamina that it could carry over 10 tons across the Galar region without rest or sleep. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon has been treasured not just for its physical labor, but also because it produces high quality mud used for making pottery. Silly Cobra. Pokemon Shield. It spews sand from its nostrils. While the enemy is blinded, it burrows into the ground to hide. Pokemon Scarlet. Silly Cobra's neck pouch, which can inflate and deflate like a balloon, gets more elastic each time Silicobra sheds its skin. Sandaconda. Pokemon Sword. When it contracts its body, over 220 pounds of sand sprays from its nose. If it ever runs out of sand, it becomes disheartened. Pokemon Violet. The sand it spews contains sharp, pointy gravel, which is actually just sand that Sandaconda's saliva has hardened into irregular shapes. Gigantamaxed. Sandaconda. Pokemon Sword. Its sand pouch has grown to tremendous proportions. More than 1,000,000 tons of sand now swirl around its body. Ursaluna. Pokemon Legends. Arceus. I believe it was Hisui's swampy terrain that gave Ursaluna its burly physique and newfound capacity to manipulate peat at will. Toadschool. Pokemon Scarlet. Toadschool lives in muggy forests. The flaps that fall from its body are chewy and very delicious. Toadscrew. Pokemon Violet. It coils its 10 tentacles around prey and sucks out their nutrients, causing the prey pain. The folds along the rim of its head are a popular delicacy. Clodsire. Pokemon Violet. It lives at the bottom of ponds and swamps. It will carry Wooper on its back and ferry them across water from one shore to the other. Great Tusk. Pokemon Scarlet. Sightings of this Pokemon have occurred in recent years. The name Great Tusk was taken from a creature listed in a certain book. Sandy Shocks. Pokemon Scarlet. No records exist of this Pokemon being caught. Data is lacking, but the Pokemon's traits match up with a creature shown in an expedition journal. Iron Dreads. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon closely resembles a scientific weapon that a paranormal magazine claimed was sent to this planet by aliens. Ting Lu. Pokemon Scarlet. The fear poured into an ancient ritual vessel has clad itself in rocks and dirt to become a Pokemon. That was our last entry for our ground Pokemon Pokedex readings. Before you go, I have a question to ask. Which ground type would you build sandcastles with all day and be besties in the beach with? My two options would be either Onyx or Cubone. Cubone first, because Cubone just has one of the saddest Pokedex entries, and I feel like just really needs a companion to do stuff with and, forget about their dead mom. And then Onyx is my other option because giant rock snake. I just really like Onyx's design, and seeing how you're able to ride Onyx in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I would also want my own Onyx mount. With that said, let me know your options for your sandcastle building bestie. Please take care and stay hydrated. For now.